overfunctioning is more socially acceptable than burnout. And it's glorified into an identity versus burnout is like you're just done.
You can count on me.
And I know if I don't do it, it won't get done. So I
think certainly won't get done well.
And I think underneath that is a little bit of a fear of, if I stop over delivering, are they still going to need me? Are they still going to like me? Welcome back to Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. I'm Doc Shellie.
And I'm Carla Lewis. We were talking about something that seems to have become really popular, at least in terms of things to talk about. But maybe more importantly, it's how do we address this notion of overfunctioning? So when we were preparing for this conversation, I am trying to figure out, why has this become so popular? Overfunctioning as a term, I think, will probably make it into the Webster's update next year, right? Where they add the words of the year. But overfunctioning seems to be the thing right now. And so it was about, let's decode what this overfunctioning really is all about. And how about we start with this? The overfunctioning is when you do more than you're asked, and more than that's probably even healthy. And that could be in relationships, on teams. It could be in the leadership position. It could be in the family. It's when you manage everything and everyone except yourself. So let's dig into this, Michelle.
Let's dig in. I think, so you raised a curious question, is why is overfunctioning like now a thing? Right? Why is it so popular now? And I think this is a completely unscientific thought. I think that overfunctioning is more socially acceptable than burnout. It's like it's a burnout costume, but it's for high achievers. It's for leaders, and it's glorified into an identity versus burnout is like you're just done.
Wow. What an awesome reflection. Okay.
So if you think about it, overfunctioning, as you described it, is it's safer than being vulnerable. It is often praised. It is often promoted. And it's almost like rebranding burnout as I'm thriving because look at all these things I can keep doing.
Okay.
So we're hustling. We got side gigs. We got productivity hacks. We're optimizing everything. We've got ambition. We want to get it all done. We don't recognize that we're steamrolling people around us. And we just overfunction, and it gets into a pattern of behavior. And sometimes we don't even recognize that we're doing it.
I think there's a corollary to that we teach others, train others, help them become not dependent so much, but expecting that you're going to step in. You're the one that's going to step in. We're going to, don't have to worry about this. If we just start moving it up the flagpole, you're going to take it. They're going to run with it. Just go. And so I think there's a part of it that is we're not aware in our own right that this is what we're doing. But at the same time, we are setting the expectation around us that we will.
Yeah. And I think, yes, absolutely. And I think some of that comes from that mindset. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done. They're counting on me, so I can't let them down. The age old, it's just easier if I do it myself.
Oh my gosh. How many times have you and I both heard that with leaders who are struggling? Oh, I'm sure. leaders who are struggling in a new role, saying, okay, all right, so this is what I used to do, but now I'm leading the people who are doing it, but nobody can do it like me. And I have seen it. I have seen it with entrepreneurs. I have seen it in family settings. It's like, no, you know what? Nobody else can do it like I do it. And so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
You can count on me.
You can count on me. And I know if I don't do it, it won't get done. But also, I think
certainly won't get done well.
Oh, of course not. And I think underneath that is a little bit of a fear of, if I stop over delivering, if I stop doing all these things, are they still going to need me? Are they still going to like me? So I think so much of that comes from early conditioning, people pleasing. For women, it's the be the good girl role. We're caretakers. Then we have unbalanced systems. We have workplaces and relationships that reward those who are the most self-sacrificing, not necessarily those who are the most strategic. Hello.
Are you saying hello to me?
To you and to I?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's also a survival strategy that we've learned to overfunction because people around us underfunctioned. So I think there's a whole lot that goes into how overfunctioning happens.
Oh. So there's the notion of the old lessons and the interpretation, how to act with that as a guiding thing. You need to be good. You need to be the team player. You need to be ever present. Yes, get a buttercup. And I'm flashing back to, not just in my life, but even in conversations we've had on this podcast about early conditioning, and not just as a child, but as a professional. And especially, and at the moment, I'm going to focus on women, those who have come up in an era where there may not have been models about what it means to be a team player, to be responsible, but not to own everything, not to be. I'm getting all twisted up in my words just because of the flood of thoughts that are coming in about that conditioning, the caretaking. And well, I never thought about it before as people pleasing. It certainly is a big piece of it. Because if I can keep everybody happy, if I can keep everybody comfy and feeling secure in the fact that whatever it is going to get done, because that's how it always happens. If you put it in front of Carla, wow, that conditioning. And then there's an unbalance in the system, right? The self-sacrifice, the people who give it all, they give up everything else. It's clear. And you and I have talked about it before, where we both have been given jobs. I'm owning this. So I'll take back I have been given a job. I have been given promotions into higher levels of responsibility because I was willing to sacrifice any personal life to succeed in the professional life. And I am talking about office professional, just in case there's anybody out there who's wondering what kind of profession. It's serious. And honest to God, we could do an entire episode just on that, right? The double entendre. But anyway, I'm not wanting to go there. Not right now, anyway. But there's an out of balance situation in the workplaces and relationships that end up being rewarded because of this whole self-sacrifice thing. So
I mean, I see it. I have a couple clients that I'm working with right now, and they are giving, it's fascinating. I've got one who's a female executive who has zero life outside of work. She does everything. She travels, and there's opportunity for her to do some development with her team where they could also do some of the things that she's doing, but she can't let any of it go. And then I have another person who is in a relationship that she just gives everything to this relationship that she can barely keep a job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, so there's too much self-sacrificing on both parts there, like two different situations. One's professional, one's personal, but that balance just isn't there. And the expectation of both of them is, I can't shift out of what I'm doing because I'll let everyone down.
Right.
So trying to shift that perspective of, you're letting yourself down, and why are you at the bottom of that list, has been some very interesting conversations.
Oh my gosh. I'm feeling it in my gut, because that notion of actually honoring yourself in this whole equation, you get to the point where you've already trained yourself to let everything else be second. And you've devoted and are being rewarded for that devotion to giving everything outside of you to support things outside of you, and you lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with tremendous cost.
People don't recognize it, though. And therein lies the problem. Because it tricks you into feeling like you're in control, while simultaneously your own needs, your own satisfaction, your own rest. We've talked a lot about rest, about your own joy. Like, all of those things are being diminished or erased while you feel like you're in control because you're over functioning and you're taking care of everyone around you, but you're not taking care of yourself.
So that would then suggest the possibility that I could also start kind of resenting the fact that all of this is demanded of me. And if I say that specifically because people have come to expect it, because that's what I've trained them to do. And they're not actually demanding it of me. I have been pushing it. This is how I'm feeling that I can demonstrate my value. And then there's this other piece of me that's saying, yeah, but, and I keep shoving it down. Shut up. Right? I need to do and be this way. But the resentment, the notion, I mean, becoming a martyr in this whole thing. Look at all that I have to and can do. And I know it matters, and therefore I'm going to continue. And I don't recognize what I'm doing to myself.
Right. Exactly.
In that whole thing.
Exactly.
So what's to be done?
And there, I think, well, I before I go there, I think there's also, when you're in that overfunctioning place, there's a couple things happening that you don't receive help. You won't ask for help. You certainly won't receive it, because they might be trying to, take something valuable away from you. But I think there's also potentially a feeling of being invisible, even when you're doing everything, because people aren't recognizing the effort that you're giving things. They aren't perhaps recognizing all the things that you're doing because they become so accustomed to, Carla will just do it. Carla will do it. Carla will do that. I don't need to do this. Carla will do it. And when you set the bar higher, Carla will do all of this when she really only needs to do 3 feet of work, but she's doing 82 feet of work. That expectation then becomes 82 feet of work, and you're no longer the, oh, look at me, look at all the things I'm doing such a great job, that just becomes your norm. And people will also see that.
Yeah.
So you're going to burn yourself out doing everything for everyone around you. They're going to get accustomed to it. It's going to not get recognized. So you're just going to kind of go in the background. Even though you're the glue that's holding it all together, you're also exhausting yourself in the process.
That whole overfunctioning thing takes on a whole new flavor, a whole new look and feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can you continue? How can you cannot survive that pace, that demand, that expectation of yourself and from others without something giving.
Mm-hmm. I just had a conversation with one of my coaching clients this morning, and we were talking. It wasn't necessarily framed in overfunctioning, but it was a great question. And she's trying to kind of balance some work that she's got going on and prioritizing things. And I asked a question, something along the lines of, what are you doing for everyone else that they could be doing for themselves? And when I think about overfunctioning, that's a great question to think about, is what are you doing for other people that they could do for themselves? I have a friend who will never go out at dinner time because she has to cook dinner for her husband every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is a grown-ass, capable man with 2 hands and all 10 digits that he could easily cook his own meal. He could throw something in the microwave, but she thinks he'll be very disappointed if she doesn't have a meal made for him. I don't want anyone to think that this is an abusive relationship, because it is not. I'm going to be very clear about that. But that is just at an expectations that she has set, and she will not do anything otherwise. It doesn't matter what is going on, who's getting together, who's in town. She can't do anything because it's dinner time. And she was doing that for about 10 years. It's very interesting. I asked him about it one day because I was just very curious. Because I was like, are you kind of that jerk husband who won't let his wife go do anything? And he was like, what are you talking about? And I gave him a list of in the past month of how many times she had been invited to something. And she said no, because she had to cook dinner. And he was like, no, I can cook my own dinner. I could stop on my way home from work and get something to eat. He has no expectation that she's going to do that. So I thought it was very interesting.
Wow. So just if we just looked at that, the gap. So it isn't necessarily an expectation he's set upon her, but it's one.
I mean, at least that's what he told me.
Right. Okay. Interesting that you could have that conversation with him about that. But testing that whatever is the driver for the overfunctioning, in this case, we're looking at it through the lens of, grown ass man. How did you say it? Anyway, the
grown ass man with 2 hands and 10 fingers.
Yeah. So, but it raises a question for those who might be feeling like there's a little bit of, maybe not in the cooking piece, but there is something that's resonating around. Yeah, I keep being the one doing this. Now, is it because it's truly an expectation others hold of me and I don't want to disappoint? Is it an expectation I hold of me so that I don't get lost and I don't fade into the background, that I am front and center in doing something, in this case, cooking a meal, but think about it in terms of work and in terms of community. What are the things that drive our actions and our own expectations of ourselves that are unchecked?
Well, and I don't know that people recognize they're unchecked, right? Because they're doing it because that's what they've learned. It's how they think they're keeping themselves safe. They're keeping themselves secure. They're keeping themselves contained, whatever it is. They're protecting, right? There's a lot that goes into overfunctioning. And and the whole notion of overfunctioning, I think, is that we don't even recognize we're doing it. So we have to recognize that where we're, I think I said it earlier, like where can people do things for themselves that you're doing for them that you maybe don't need to be doing for them all the time? Where are you robbing someone else's opportunity to grow and learn and develop?
So big. I'm sorry. Just so big, especially in the business world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to mentor and coach other members of a team to be able to rise without it coming across as a threat.
Right.
So we could chew on this bone all night. So what are the things that we can do? What are the things that we can be thinking about, looking at, considering in terms first of becoming aware what, if any, overfunctioning is present in my life? And then
I will guarantee you every single person is overfunctioning at something. I don't think, if any, even needs to be a caveat thrown in there.
Okay.
I can't think of a single person I know, including myself, that doesn't overfunction.
Okay. All right. So we're all members of the overfunctioning club. Given that, the fact that it's costing us much, what can we be doing about it? What, if anything, can we do to help fortify ourselves by recognizing a pattern, understanding where it's coming from, respecting it, and then managing it?
Mm-hmm.
What's to be done?
Well, I think first thing you mentioned, right? Noticing the pattern, noticing where you are doing things out of habit, like making dinner for your husband every single night. Where is that coming from? But recognize the patterns that you have where you're constantly doing things for other people. Is that something that you really need to be doing? And I think it's important to also give yourself a break. Like, we're overfunctioning because we learned it. It keeps us safe. It helps us be seen. It maybe helps you feel secure and protected. So it's not something that all people probably are not doing, but recognize that there's no shame in it. We were doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
But also start letting other people do for themselves. You don't have to do everything for everyone else. Especially if you're in a leadership role. You talked about that already, right? The mentorship, the coaching, like use that as an opportunity to grow your team. And if you're in partnership with someone where you're constantly putting your needs second, think about where can a balance come in there? What boundaries are being violated? What boundaries are you not holding yourself to? What boundaries are missing? And practice a little bit of discomfort. Because if you've been that person that's always there, you're the safety net, you don't let any of the 8,000 balls and plates that are spinning and balls in the air drop, let one drop and see what happens. No, probably nobody's going to die. Nobody's going to have to be sent to the hospital. See what happens. I bet someone else will pick up that ball. They might even pick it up before it bounces. Maybe it bounces 2 or 3 times and they pick it up. No harm, no foul. And try to get to a mindset of being who you are instead of doing who you want to be. That sounded really weird.
Well, I think it gets getting into we are human beings, not human doings.
Yes.
So If I could just get back to the beginning of that list, it really starts with understanding what is the motivation behind that pattern. Okay, so I recognize the pattern. This is what I've been doing. It's not something I really should have to. But I just decided that I would. And now it's not serving me, or I just don't want to be a part of it anymore. Where did it come from? And what's it going to take for you to be able to let it go? I mean, what's it going to take to let go of whatever is the control or the influence or the whatever it is that's feeding for you? How do you respect that it had a place and a time, and it's time for it to go? And then how do you help those who become dependent on it grow into their own responsibilities as relates to whatever it was you were doing?
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything else.
You were going to say something else.
So I was going to say, Michelle, what can we leave?
What about if I ever heard one?
No.
Here's what was coming to my head when you said, like, what is the motivation? And then it's interesting because as you talk through that, you're still taking on the overfunctioning responsibility of now helping that person take over that which you think they should be doing. Right? So you're still in overfunctioning land with that. Here's what I'm thinking is, where am I overfunctioning? What am I afraid might happen if I stop overfunctioning on that thing or those things? And I think that for me is the through line of all of it is, this has served me. So we've done the reflection on what am I getting from this? It has served me in some way. So I'm afraid I'm going to lose whatever it's serving me. Is it making me feel good? Is it making me look good? Like, how is it serving you? What are you afraid of if you stop doing it? And I do not think in many cases that it is your responsibility to then help other people figure out how to do the thing that you're no longer going to do for them. Some cases it may be, but I wouldn't take that as a heavy lift of a burden that if I stop cooking dinner for my husband every night, now I've got to spend 18 weeks teaching that man how to cook. I don't need to teach him how to go through a drive-through. I don't need to teach him how to place an order. He'll figure it out. In the workplace, I think there's a lot of things that people pick up for other people that they are more than capable of doing, and they don't need a whole lot of direction other than stop doing it for them.
Yes. Yes.
So I would just say be careful about where you take on the burden of, if I'm going to stop over functioning X, Y, or Z, that I now have to help somebody figure out how to do X, Y, and Z. Not your responsibility, most cases. The last thing that's coming to mind for me is that so many times we tie our worth to the overfunctioning. Your worth is not tied to how much you carry.
I'm Carla Lewis.
I am Doc Shellie. Thanks for tuning in today. If you like what you're hearing, we would love a review or a rating. Let us know what you think. We love the comments as well. We will see you next time.
What's it going to take to let go of whatever is the control or the influence or the whatever it is that's feeding for you? How do you respect that it had a place and a time, and it's time for it to go?
So many times we tie our worth to the overfunctioning. Your worth is not tied to how much you carry.